Just got an update from some of the experts there as to what to expect, trying to keep things safe. So we're joined now by the author of Beyond Proportionality, Is Israel Fighting Just War in Gaza? Thane Rosenbaum, along with Newsmax foreign policy analyst Waleed Phares. Thank you both for being here. This parade held yearly and is usually called Celebrate Israel. It's marred this year by the attack from Hamas and the hostages that the terror group is still holding. You can see there lots of support today. So Thane, why is supporting one of our closest allies and trying to put an end to this crisis such a problem for the Biden administration, in your opinion?
Good question, John. Many people like myself have been wondering. Politically, he obviously feels hostage to Minnesota and Michigan, especially Dearborn, Michigan. The same people who are calling him Genocide Joe, he is doing everything he can to get votes of people who hate America. And no one's admitting this. You know, it was only a few weeks ago when an American flag was burned in Dearborn, and we started to hear death to America. That's Joe Biden's go-to electorate. That's what he's placating. So it is shocking to people like me. I've been a human rights law professor for over 35 years. Israel is fighting a just war. It is not a genocide. You can scream genocide all you want, but if that's a genocide, then every war that the United States has been in, any civilian that ever died means that the United States has committed genocide. So the politics here is that Joe Biden is on, backpedaling, and he's trying to make sure that the battleground states of Michigan and Minnesota still favor Democrats.
We're looking at that sign there. It says, bring them home. Waleed, President Biden has been plugging some kind of a ceasefire here agreement, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made his stance particularly clear this week. Israel's conditions for ending the war have not changed: the destruction of Hamas's military and governing capabilities, the freeing of all the hostages, and ensuring that Gaza is no longer poses a threat to Israel. Your reaction to those comments there from Netanyahu, but and also, should we be negotiating with terrorists, is another good question.
Well, at this point in time, let me inform the public, from my observations, strategic observations, and we've seen this film before in Beirut, 1982 and 1985, when the PLO was fighting against the Israeli army. What has happened over the past week is basically that Hamas lost strategically the war. When the Israelis come from the border and then cut off Rafah from the Sinai, from the Egyptian side, it means now the choices are either Hamas negotiates to leave, or Israel has no other option than to take completely Rafah. And once that is done, basically, the rest is negotiations. So people are talking about ceasefire. There will be a ceasefire, and that ceasefire is very close. But it will be when Hamas will accept to leave the city and surrender the hostages to their families. That is the situation on the ground. I don't know what the administration is thinking. How can Israel now, having surrounded Rafah, the last fortress of Hamas, say, oh, I'm sorry, I am withdrawing, Hamas come to the table, and with Hamas comes all the Iranian regime, Islamic Republic weapons. So reality on the ground is very different from the discussion we're having here in Washington.
Thane, I want to go back to you on this. I mean, we're watching this play out. We know the NYPD is going to be there, making this a safe environment for these people here to be part of this. What message does that send to Hamas, knowing that this is such a big gathering, it's happening on American soil, and there's a lot of support for the Jewish community here? What does that send, the message to Hamas?
John, let me just repeat this statistic. In order to equate the number of dead Americans that would equate to the dead Israelis, that's 42,000 people. 42,000 Americans would have been slaughtered, babies beheaded and torched, teenage girls gang raped. I'd like to take a minute to just have people settle in on, think about that.
Yeah.
What would America do in that situation? I would hope that all Americans, knowing that Israel is a liberal democracy, that Israel has been fighting the war on terror long before 9/11, and that the Palestinians on 9/11 were throwing candy in celebration.
Right.
That's the people that are bringing down the American flag. Those are the people burning the flag.
Yeah.
So before you might have a student in college screaming their love of Hamas, but recognize who you're showing love. The Israelis need to know that America stands behind them, and I hope this parade helps.
We'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Thane Rosenbaum, Walid Ferris. Very great insight. Appreciate you both coming on.